Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:34, and Soundgarden on Rock 102.
This is it. The end. Until the next one, of course. The heat wave will end this afternoon. We will have thunderstorms rolling through here that will bring in a cold front. But before that, we will likely hit 95 degrees. And, of course, humidity that will make it feel much warmer. But after that, it gets a whole lot better for 4th of July weekend.
Speaking of hot, Michael Dobbs of The Reminder will be joining us today.
Wow. He's, what is his temperature up a little?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to weave it all together and make it sound like it all flows together. That's the kind of thing you expect in a Hall of Fame caliber broadcast.
I mean, not to say he's not. Well, no, he's not hot. I mean, I didn't know how you meant it.
No, I don't mean it in a
Looks
physical way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hot under the collar.
Yeah, okay. Right.
He brings the heat when he brings it to the table. He likes a good cigar. You got to like that with some sort of fire device, matches, lighter, what have you. So yeah, Michael Dobbs will be joining us later on this morning. A lot of other stuff too. It's 5:35 on Rock 102.
Live income.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:50 in Credence on Rock 102.
One more half a day of killer heat, and then probably thunderstorms rolling in this afternoon. Today's high 95. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms, a high of 78. It is 73 now in downtown Springfield.
Hey, what do you say we hop right into some Hollywood trash with Steve and Nick on the Rock 102?
You know, I feel old, and it's because every once in a while I'll see a name that I have no idea who the hell that is.
Yeah, welcome to our world, Steve.
Anything I feel.
Well, this one just kind of... Pooh Shiesty. Do you know Pooh Shiesty?
I do not know Pooh.
Well, Pooh Shiesty's an R&B artist, and rose to fame last year, apparently. I never heard the song, but apparently he's pretty popular, right?
Okay.
Back in October, Pooh and two friends met up with a couple of guys in Miami, supposedly to purchase some weed and high-end sneakers, but instead, Pooh and one of his friends shot the men, one in the hip and one in the backside.
By the way, is this man's name spelled like excrement or like Winnie the?
Like the bear, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually you think the cute cuddly bear when you see it written P-O-O-H.
Yes, yeah.
But if you hear it, I can see where you're going with that.
Right.
But the moment you introduce gunplay, I stopped thinking about the 100-acre wood.
Well, I'm sure there's 100-acre wood going on somewhere. They took off without paying, but a Louis Vuitton bag filled with $40,912 in cash fell out of Pooh's Lamborghini McLaren. Now, check this out. A few days before the incident, Pooh posted photos of himself with, quote, a plethora of $100 bills.
A plethora?
A plethora. Cops were able to zoom in on the serial numbers of one of those bills and it matched one of the hundreds in the bag. Imagine that.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
Mr. Shiesty is charged with discharging a firearm during a violent crime, conspiracy, and robbery under a law regulating commerce. That is a pretty classic way to get yourself caught.
It's very good police work there.
Didn't I just say to you guys yesterday when doing enough stories about Elvis Costello?
We
That
don't.
was last week, though.
Elvis Costello was not bothered at all by the similarities between the guitar riffs of his hit Pump It Up and Olivia Rodrigo's Brutal. He said, quote, "It's how rock and roll works. You take the broken pieces of another thrill and you make it a brand new toy."
Well, he's kind of got a point.
Yeah, except if you're ripping somebody off too much, you can sue them.
Yeah, that's true, too. Whenever Ed Sheeran is in Los Angeles, he stays with Courtney Cox.
All right.
They've become that good of friends?
Or he just enjoys hanging out with Cox.
I guess he does.
Isn't Courtney Cox old enough to be his mother?
Probably, yeah.
On the Late Show with James Corden, Ed admitted that one time when Courtney left the room, he ordered a GIMP mask on Alexa.
Wow.
A GIMP mask?
Yeah, he said he had the S&M thing where you put it over your face.
Like in Pulp Fiction?
Oh.
Courtney had no idea where it came from, so he just keeps doing it. Well, now she knows.
He keeps doing what? Ordering it or wearing
Anytime he stays at her house, he tells her Alexa to order a GIMP mask.
All right, you know what? When house guests start dressing creepy, that's when I pay for their hotel room.
Especially if they're ordering things through my Alexa.
Yeah, that would piss me off
Yeah.
even more. And what celebrities with Alexa kind of surprises me because you think those things are listening to you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But no one can listen to Ed Sheeran for too long.
Actually, I kind of like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, but do you like Miss Cox?
Maybe in a gimp mask.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. But this is kind of sick on his part, don't you think?
Very, very sick.
He's like, now when I go back there, I order her another gimp mask. She has like 12 of them now. I hide them in people's bedrooms so they'll go in the drawer and find a leather S&M mask.
So he buys them for her and hides them in her house?
Apparently, I guess that's what he's saying.
All right, he's got to find another place to stay.
But that's some issues. You got some issues there.
Uh-huh.
Jeff Garland thinks Larry David has maybe one more season of Curb Your Enthusiasm left in him. He said that even though Larry is in good shape, he's about to be 74 years old, and the busy filming schedule is physically exhausting. Yeah, they said those are all like improv. Remember we talked to Jeff Garland.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a structure, there's a story structure, and then all the dialogue is improvised.
But I don't get why, especially the cable channels. Well, I suppose the cable channels more so than the streaming channels would have to stick to a schedule, a shooting schedule. You know, it's like however long it takes them to make it, that's when it gets put out.
Yeah, but there's got to be a budget, I'm sure, and there's probably got to be, people get paid based on how much time they're taking away to do filming.
Mm-hmm.
He also takes his time in between seasons.
Yep.
To kind of create that structure. I think, in a lot of ways, maybe the actual production of each episode is probably the shortest amount of time it takes to put together the whole series.
Probably.
Ariana Grande is hoping to give away $1 million in free therapy. Applicants will be matched with a licensed therapist for a free month of care. She's hoping it helps people feel okay asking for the help that they need.
A free month? What is that? How many times a week? How many times a day? How many hours each time?
However much
you want, or she tells you?
I guess however much she's going to give you.
Yeah.
If she's giving away $1 million total,
right,
and 1 million people sign up, there's only going to be a finite number of those people that are going to be allowed to. Because what's a doctor visit? $200 at least.
Probably close to that.
Yeah.
She's not conducting it herself, though, right? I mean, she's not.
No, she's sending you to professionals.
I don't know.
Her hand-picked professionals, or do I find my own?
Her hand-picked professionals.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how I feel about opening up to her about all of my many traumas.
I could probably open up to her.
I'm sure you could.
Kim Kardashian toured the Vatican this week wearing an off-the-shoulder sheer white lace dress with lots of cutouts to expose her midsection and back. Obviously, people thought she was being very, very disrespectful.
Isn't that exactly what the Virgin Mary wore
no.
in that famous picture?
Absolutely not.
No, she's... Don't ever compare her to the Virgin Mary.
Well... Did the Virgin Mary have something to say?
No, actually. Yeah, oh my God, the last time this woman desecrated my church.
Oh, my son.
Yeah. Then that's your Hollywood Trash on Rock 102. Yeah.
Celebrate and save now. Go clean and green with gas-sipping hybrid. Release the 2021 Elantra Hybrid Blue for $257. 2021 Ion.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Get instant savings with your Rocky's Ace Rewards card.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, I'd like to take a moment to talk about productivity in the workplace. Personally, I'm not a big fan. Give me a lot of stuff to do, and there's a very good chance I'll complete a certain percentage of it just before a deadline. Meet or exceed that deadline, and all of a sudden, everybody expects you to get things done all the time. And that's just not how I roll. The truth is completely unrealistic to expect a guy like me or anybody else to keep pumping out quality work every single day. Even I, a Massachusetts Broadcast Hall of Famer, has to pace myself. This is why I look at a guy like Kyle Schwarber of the Washington Nationals and say, slow down, kid, you're making a spectacle of yourself. You see, over the last 18 games, Kyle Schwarber has become one of the most electrifying batters in the major leagues, hitting 16 home runs all in the month of June. To make matters more incomprehensible, he didn't start knocking dingers out of the park until June 12th. Kyle is only the third player to have 16 home runs in 18 games. The other two guys were Sammy Sosa in 1998 and Barry Bonds in 2001. He's had 12 of those home runs over the last 10 games. He's hit multiple home runs in 5 separate games, and the kid is tearing it up. And while that's all very exciting, all I can think of is what else Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa had in common. And apart from a lot of dingers, they also shared the same metabolically compromising yet illegal supplementation. Not to say that Kyle Schwarber is on the juice, because that would be presumptuous. But honestly, enough is enough. You're setting yourself up to meet unattainable expectations, kid, and that's just not realistic. Listen, sustained productivity is highly overrated. You don't need to be mashing baseballs out of the park every single time. You're a leadoff hitter. Just get on base. Where's the shame on that? I should point out that Schwarber is perhaps seeing the writing on the wall and will be opting out of the home run derby during the All-Star break just to rest up. And I think that's a good decision. And let that be a lesson to all of us. Productivity sure sounds good on paper, but it ain't all what it's cracked up to be. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, the Weber Kettle Grill for true charcoal grilling, the Genesis Gas Grill for speed and temperature control, the Weber Portable for tailgating, and the Weber Electric for plug-in convenience. Weber Grills, a different kind of grill for every occasion and for every need. Get your Weber today at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:11, a Journey on Rock 102.
Yesterday afternoon, I'm sitting out on the deck with my phone.
Why?
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 Oh, that's what I do. And I look at the phone. The Weather Channel automatically gives me the Chicopee temperature. And that official Weather Channel temperature is out at the base. And I can see in the sky really dark clouds in the direction of the base. I'm sitting on my deck. I know it's in the mid-90s, but on the base, it's 76 degrees, and you can and when you look at the radar, you can see that one of the storms. An hour later, it was 90-something again out at the base.
Yeah.
But with those storms coming through last night or yesterday, it would cool down. But then when it passed, the humidity went up.
I was driving around yesterday. We went out to lunch, and temperature in my car reached 100 degrees.
Wow.
Now, I also saw later on that it hit 102.
102.1?
I don't know I don't know what the decimal breakdown was, but we hit 102 yesterday, and I don't know if any of you experienced this, but I thought that was rather hot.
That is, it's a little warm. So some cities and towns snap their fingers and they make things happen, and others get all worked up about it. A few days ago, we were telling this story about how in Springfield, this veterinarian wanted to open up a funeral home, a pet funeral home, in the Old Hill neighborhood. And the Mass Live had a picture of the building, which appears to be surrounded by an 8-foot-high barbed wire topped chain link fence. This appears to be a property that probably hasn't been used for a while. So in an effort to keep people from breaking in, I guess they put this up. The person wanted to turn this into a water-based cremation process. Well, the neighbors said, no way. And they went to the city council. Well, first they went to the community, the neighborhood council, the Old Hill Neighborhood Council. Then they went to the city council. And last night, the permit was rejected by an 11-1 vote.
So you'll have to find other ways to deal with your late pets.
And one of the, actually, this is one of the counselors, Mallow Brown, said, we're old school and we don't want any more death there. Anything signifying death. We really, as a community, want something different there. You don't want death. Nothing's being killed there.
Yeah, it's just being processed.
Yeah, they're already dead.
It's I guess you have to look at it. It would be providing a essential service. Because some people would like to memorialize their late pets.
Yeah, and others say, no, you know something, we'd like to have something else that fits better into the neighborhood. You know, let's say a community center, a mental health facility, an after-school program, a bakery, or a flower shop. A mental health facility? Tell that to the people of, oh man, now I can't remember. There was in the area, there was a mental health facility. I think it was in Springfield that was just rejected because the neighbors said, no, we don't want that there.
Are you talking about the methadone clinic that was supposed to be downtown? Or in the South End?
Maybe.
Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that was it. Well, and how about this then? How about a 66-acre paved parking lot? Would you like that instead? Because the people of Southwick sure don't. And they showed up in droves last night at the town meeting, not just in person, but online. And they said, no, we don't want this. The proponents are pointing out that there'll be 400 to 600 jobs provided by this over 5 years and $900,000 a year in property taxes. But the neighbors say, no, thank you. Now, apparently they have either a spokesman, or at least this is who Channel 22 spoke to there yesterday, was a basketball-loving insurance salesman who he claimed would mean that this facility would mean an auto carrier truck every 9 minutes. Now, there are some statistics in this article in Mass Live, but that statistic is not there. It does say 2,600 vehicle trips a day. I don't know what that means.
90 trips by car carriers.
90 trips by car carriers, but
Yeah.
2,600 vehicle trips a day.
Does that mean all the cars that are on the car carriers?
It sounds it.
That's what it sounds like.
Is that the way to count?
Well, I mean, if you've got a car carrier that's got 10 cars on it, it's a lot of cars being moved around the town of Southwick.
But that's not vehicle trips. Vehicle trips would seemingly be an individual self-powered vehicle.
Not
a truck on a trailer.
But if they're talking about 90 trips by car carrier, that's a lot of additional traffic in a sleepy little burg like Southwick.
Nah. I
know you don't that you're all about progress, but there are certain towns that would embrace something like this, and certain ones that would not. And while there's loads of open space in Southwick, the people of Southwick like to keep that space wide open and not have it bogged down by additional traffic. That's one of the reasons why you move to a town like Southwick, to avoid a lot of that extra traffic.
And that's one of the arguments. Opponents say Carvana's plan to pave 66 acres of what's now a 137-acre tobacco field is not what they want. Trying to find these other comments about tobacco and open land, and I think it's a regional issue. I want a farmland. Look, 66. First of all, it's 66 acres of a 100. And what did I just say? 137-acre tobacco field. That still leaves you an awful lot of room for tobacco. And the town itself has more than enough room for, it doesn't say anything about who owns this property and whether or not they're selling it to Carvana. Because even the people are complaining that, when you first told us about this, we never even saw the name Carvana. You only put out the name of the contractor who's going to build this. And then when we found out it was Carvana, then we're like, but what about the property owner? I don't see anything listed here about who's selling it and whether or not he's already got a deal with Carvana.
Right. You have to put yourself in the shoes of someone that moves to a town like Southwick. And they may be longtime residents. I'm not talking about like they just moved. People who have maybe spent their lives there. The reason they live in Southwick is it's a quiet town that doesn't have a lot of the issues that, maybe more suburban, more business-friendly towns would have. I grew up in the same kind of town, and it's like a town without streetlights, without a McDonald's, without sidewalks. It had none of those
But did
things.
you have a major state road riding through the middle of town?
Yeah, we had Route 44 and Route 118.
And is that where the business was? The development was?
There was an industrial area that was, you can't even call it an industrial area, but I mean, there were certain areas of the town that were zoned purely for business. But anytime somebody wanted to take a parcel of land that had to be rezoned for business or recreational purposes or whatever the change might be, you always had people in town complaining about it because the amount of traffic or the traffic flow to that area changed a good deal of the town. And if you're a taxpayer and a longtime resident, a lot of people get pretty ticked off about that kind of thing. It's not what they want for their town. And Southwick is no different. It's absolutely no different. If the residents of Southwick don't want it, then maybe they shouldn't have it.
Why not do a switcheroo here?
Well, there's lots of other places to put it.
Do a switcheroo. Put the animal cremation place in Southwick and put Carvana in the Old Hill neighborhood.
I don't think they want that
I don't
either.
think Carvana's got enough space for that.
If you were, say, to move something like this to an Agawam, perhaps.
Well, what makes you think Agawam wants it any more than Southwick?
Because I think Agawam is probably a little bit more open to business than a Southwick.
I don't know.
I think they're more open to development than a Southwick. But a Southwick is not the kind of town that you move to be close to the hustle and bustle.
Well, they've hired former city councilor, Springfield city councilor Tim Ryan, to represent them as their attorney. They've raised a whopping $13,000, which might be just enough to get Tim to swing by.
I know Tim well enough to tell you that it doesn't normally take $13,000 to get him to show up.
Well, to handle your case, maybe. Look, 10 and 202 is a major commercial district, and I understand that this is more than that. But they also say, by the way, that the town can create what did they call it here? I'm not that familiar with Tannery Road, but apparently Tannery Road is somewhat of a twisting road. So they can actually, the traffic issues are solvable. The town could require a light and could prescribe routes as part of the special permit. In other words, they can make Carvana not use Tannery Road. They can make them probably, they probably have to come off the pike on 10 and 202 and go straight in that way, as opposed to, I don't know what's at the other end of Tannery Road that would make them even need to use it, but maybe it is. But they can create a route system of how you're allowed to bring your vehicles in and out. And I realize it's not industrial. I was going to say something like that Amazon place that they put in Holyoke, but that's kind of an industrial area. But there's a lot of traffic.
But they would be creating what would become an industrial area. If you're talking about traffic of that degree, 90 different vehicle carriers going through there every single day, that's a lot of traffic for a small, quiet town like Southwick. That's a lot. And if I were a resident there, I'd be standing along with these people.
Would you be wearing a cow costume?
A cow costume? No, not in this kind of heat. But I would.
There's a woman out there who's wearing a.
Certainly. Well, I mean, it's not like let's make a deal when you're trying to get to Monty Hall's.
I think it might be because she got $25 for having a red lipstick in her pocketbook.
Well, there you go. It's 6:23 with Bax and O'Brien at Rock 102. It's 6:26 with Bax and O'Brien at Rock 102.
That's how they're funding that thing this year. Donations.
Well, I think they've always kind of done it through donations, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that my understanding is that the entertainment has been canceled. I know that Johnny Six Gun was supposed to be playing there. That was canceled. And my understanding is that they really only have the money for the fireworks. So the celebration is off. But the fireworks are planned.
Well, what I was reading is that the cost of fireworks this year is sky high because I don't really mean that as
high?
a joke. No, just that they've, because of the pandemic, there are less fireworks to go around. There's actually a shortage. And so the cost of them has now been jacked up.
I saw the thing about a shortage, but I thought that was in reference to like the kind of fireworks people buy, not the kind that professionals use to do shows.
A lot of the times these professionals will actually make them themselves,
Yeah.
but the materials are still hard to find and not as plentiful as they've been in years past. So
it's a good thing.
ipso fatso, the cost is still high.
Then it's a good thing, like I said, that Judy kept all last year's fireworks in her basement.
She did not. She's already told us that, and you
what she
can
says.
ask her again tomorrow when she's on the show.
And I'm sure her answer will be the same. She's got to stick to her answer. God bless her. Let's laugh.
Tell me what's funny.
It's Bax and O'Brien's Joke of the Day
Well, it's nice to find a fellow with a keen sense of humor.
on Rock 102.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Springfield's classic rock.
A young boy on his way to school,
Yes.
walking, passes a group of hookers every day.
Hookers.
Every day he passes them, the hookers wave at him with their pinkies. And they say, "Hi there, little boy." Well, one day the boy stops and he asks the hookers, why are they all waving at him with their pinkies? And one of the hookers says, well, first of all, okay, it's just a joke. It's just a joke, but that's what we imagine the size of your penis to be. So the next day, the hookers are standing there again, and they're waving at the kid with their pinkies. And the kid stops, he drops his school books on the ground, and he shoves his entire fist into his mouth. And he looks at him and he goes, "Hi there, ladies." You see, because he imagines that's the size of their mouths.
Oh, man,
he
that's
got him
offensive.
back. Booyah!
32 and Bax and O'Brien to Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagel.
Wow, joke of the day, huh?
Yeah.
Hall of Fame material, if I'm saying, all right, huh?
It was not a bad joke.
A little uncouth, I would say.
Uncouth? Have you ever heard some of the jokes this guy, Dad Joke Dave, tells?
Well, those are all clean
Those
jokes.
are all
No,
clean.
they are not.
Yes, they
Squeaky
are.
clean.
I have heard dad jokes about penises before. Yes.
Not that joke, David.
Yes.
Yeah. You're thinking of that one guy that used to call in that no longer calls in.
Nope. Go back and listen to the archives.
Oh, I've got the archives.
Dad Joke Dave could be a little bit blue every now and then.
But he's also not the host of a radio show who's been inducted into the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Which makes the collar a lot looser.
I guess so.
Hey, either have we, at least not yet.
Storms passing through western Massachusetts yesterday resulted in several trees down and hundreds of residents without power. Over 900 people in Longmeadow, more than 200 people in Pittsfield. Oh,
How do we go from Longmeadow to Pittsfield?
I don't know, but they all go 330 people in Agawam were affected. According to the MEMA outage map, power has since been restored to most residences. But those storms got pretty bad last night.
In some places. We
Yeah.
barely got any rain at all in Chicopee.
I was down in Manchester, Connecticut, and driving back around, 6:30 last night.
Yep.
You see, it was just so cool to see the bolts of lightning, like as you're driving up 91.
Yeah.
Like off in those tobacco fields and all that stuff. It was pretty cool.
22 News is live in Longmeadow this morning, and I got to believe some of those full-time gardeners in those mansions are going to be very, very busy today.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No doubt about that. They've got their work cut out for them today.
You mean we got to pick up extra branches this morning?
Yeah, it won't just be about pruning the azaleas today. It's going to be about the removal of debris.
Northampton police are investigating an accident that involved a bicyclist and a vehicle on Monday afternoon. Police and firefighters were called to the scene on Pine Street at about 1:40 p.m. A 71-year-old man riding a bicycle was sent to the hospital for evaluation. A photo shared by the Northampton police shows extensive damage to the vehicle's front window. No other details were reported.
Front window. It's the windshield.
The fact that there's no other details.
The
since
fact that it was Monday.
That's what I mean.
I bet the bike is pretty messed up, too. No one's even bothering to talk about how the bike looks.
Don't know for sure that it is.
The Holyoke Police Department is investigating after a man was stabbed in Holyoke on Monday night. According to Captain Matthew Moriarty, around 6:20 p.m., the Holyoke Medical Center contacted the police department to report a man in his 50s was stabbed multiple times. Moriarty said the victim was reportedly jumped by 4 young men described as in their 20s in the area of 170 Sargent Street. The victim is expected to be okay, and the investigation is ongoing. 4 people.
Little street toughs.
Little stabby.
Yeah, little punks.
The Hamden District Attorney's Office announced yesterday an investigation led by the new SAFE unit, which resulted in 15 men arrested for drugs and illegal guns. According to the Office of the District Attorney, the SAFE unit has been investigating the Knox Street Posse in Springfield for several months. According to the DA, Anthony Gallooni, the gang is considered the most violent gang currently operating in western Massachusetts.
Now, where did they find those fellas?
2 blocks over. They
From Knox
actually
Street.
were off of Knox Street, yeah.
They're really kind of going out of their territory, aren't they?
For a little while.
Information gathered by investigators determined the gang is engaged in street wars with other rival gangs. The Knox Street Posse is known for trafficking firearms and distributing narcotics throughout western New England and mostly in Hampden County and southern Vermont. The investigation resulted in 15 gang members and associates being arrested over the past several months. In total, 20 firearms, 100,000 bags of heroin, approximately 2.8 kilos of cocaine, and $70,000 in cash were seized. The DA says the 11 of the people arrested are currently being held in accordance with the state's dangerousness statute, with one being held on $100,000 cash bail. But good for the DA's office.
Yeah, well, good for the task force.
I don't normally think of like southern Vermont as being deeply involved in gang activity.
Well, that's where a lot of the drugs are coming from.
Right. It just just seems kind of weird. If there are gangs up in Vermont, it's usually gangs of
like the Cabot cheese gang.
I was thinking like cheesemakers and guys in flannel, that kind of thing.
Well, what we were talking yesterday about the drug operation practically next door to the police department. If you go places where you think you're least likely to be expected, then it's easier to run an operation that way.
See, I just see that as bad planning.
It's like, if the Knox Street gang really were on a Knox Street Posse really were on a different street, and maybe they are. Maybe they just put Knox Street in their name to throw people off.
Yeah, but, how often do they find themselves in, say, like, Plumtree Road? Probably not all that often.
But how scared of them would you be if they were called the Plumtree Gang?
I remember seeing a film about a street gang called the Apple Dumpling Gang. That was those were tough kids.
I bet they were not.
I don't think they were that tough. I think
Don Knotts, Tim Conway. Oh, they were tough, all right.
Mm.
A proposed drug treatment center in an East Springfield industrial park was rejected by the city council on Monday after councilors cited opposition from an abutting church and the neighborhood council. The Recovery Connection Centers of America is seeking a special permit for the medical offices proposed at 281 Cottage Street, adjacent to and sharing a parking lot with the Cottage Hill Church. God forbid we help people near a church.
These neighborhood councils are bad. They're worse than the posses.
Oh, good. Now you're going to cause problems.
That was John O'Brien who said that, by the way. That wasn't me.
B-R-I-E-N.
Yeah. The Recovery Connection Centers presented testimony from multiple attorneys, a zoning expert, and medical professionals for the company over the course of multiple hours over multiple nights in recent weeks.
They said it multiple times?
No, they didn't say it at all.
Oh.
Isn't it interesting, though, that so many people feel as though, well, we should be sending guys to to rehab to clean up and as opposed to sending them in jail to do it, and then someone says, well, then let's put one right here. Then everyone says, well, no, not near my house.
I didn't mean here. I meant anywhere but here.
I mean, I want to see drug and alcohol rehab, just not from my driveway.
Counselors, however, questioned the impact the treatment center would have on the church and its activities and on the shared church parking lot. They also questioned if the medical offices were a good fit for an industrial park, among other issues. Well, is a church a good fit for an industrial park?
Well,
I'm sure the church was there long before
I was
the
going to say,
industrial park.
you don't know what was there first, but it is kind of ironic that the church, who are supposed to be there to help people, don't want to have people with substance abuse issues nearby. I'm sorry, is this an inpatient or an outpatient thing?
It sounds like an outpatient place.
Yeah.
The vote was 13-0 against the permit. Ward 4 City Councilor Mallow Brown Describing himself as a religious person and a theologist, said he has spoken to church people in the community, and they don't feel the love and the necessity for you to be welcomed there.
Mallow he's the guy. I mean, he's the guy who also, it's the same, it must be the same neighborhood council that said no to the pet cremation business. And it was Mallow Brown who was leading it.
Can you tell me what the 10 Commandments are? Brown said in a question that seemed to be directed to a company lawyer, Susan Leach de Blasio of Providence.
No, but I can tell you the 12 steps.
Well, there was no response. He asked the question after asking de Blasio if she could name the churches adjacent to 3 other company locations in Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
Yeah, they just want the facility 12 steps away from their front door.
Yeah. That's kind of a nasty ploy there. Well, can you name the 10 Commandments? No. Can you name the 12 steps? If you want to play that kind of game, it's just that's not fair. Plus, most AA meetings are held in church basements.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but is this like a methadone clinic? Because that's what I don't understand what this place is.
Sounds like it might be.
But even so, it's not a residential area. There's just
no.
The church.
Well, neither is this place they wanted to put the pet cremation business.
Well, and is this church its own standalone? I don't know this church. Is it a standalone building, or are they renting space in an industrial area? Because that happens too.
It sounds like they just want to build this place in there.
Yeah.
An annual study by the American Farm Bureau Federation found an average 4th of July barbecue for 10 people will only cost $59.50 this year, or just under $6 per person. Hey, that's not bad. But that doesn't include the cost of beer and fireworks to blow your fingers off with.
Yeah, and if you're going to have a 4th of July picnic without those things, go to the Enfield Town Green.
I think a BYOB these days is perfectly appropriate. Why should I be financially responsible for everyone else's drunkenness?
Well, I think a lot of people are having a hard time grasping how much drinks cost when they go back out to outdoor events. You've been sitting inside, or you're sitting outside in your own home for the last year, and then you finally go out and you're like, what? Beer's like $8?
The hell with that. I'm quitting.
Yeah.
Nah, who am I kidding? I got a friend who's got probably like I don't know how many feet long it is, a cooler that's probably 6 feet long.
Oh, with on wheels?
I don't even know if I would assume it'd have to be. I didn't realize if there were wheels on it or not. But and it's probably 2 feet high. Huge cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously somebody who is looking to host parties.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it may also be full of sandwiches too.
No, I saw it the other day. It was full of alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages. But I mean, the amount of ice it takes to fill this thing, whew, and it's not sectioned. It's one big open compartment.
It's been so long since I've bought myself a 6-pack of beer, but I don't even know what it costs anymore.
I'm kind of into the carbonated beverages now.
Like the seltzers and stuff?
Yeah, some of those. The Mike's hard stuff.
Ain't no laws with White Claws.
That's
true.
what I read.
Are you really drinking seltzers?
Yeah. For some reason, and I stayed away from them for so long because I'm not a fan of carbonated drinks. But I don't know.
Your vagina's like huge.
Oh, that's from the bike.
Riding on the bike, drinking a Truly. Where's your live, laugh, love sign, Karen? Did you go to Target yesterday and pick up all that stuff?
Steve, if you were smoking again, you'd be smoking Benson and Hedges.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What?
That's not true. I preferred Virginia Slims.
I was gonna say you're smoking little Capris.
Yeah.
Virginia Slims. I told you my grandmother used to smoke Eve Light 120s, which was like the 2x4 of the cigarette. I don't even. And when I was, a teenager, and they would steal them from her,
right?
It was like, how is anybody getting any kind of nicotine off these things? Because the filter was so long on them, as well as the cigarette.
I did for a little while. I tried Moors, and that was the same thing. It was a very difficult draw.
That's a 4x8, by the way. That more.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's like it's more, I think, for show than it is for anything else.
More.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's what you did. You used the name right in your sentence.
I inadvertently did it. You connected it, but more for show. Like those, they just wanted to romanticize those old movies with the people smoking the cigarettes out of the thing.
I think it also helped because I was smoking them to try to quit smoking, and since it was so much work to get a draw off of it, it's like they just showed this morning that it turns out e-cigarettes are more effective than tobacco-related products to help you quit smoking.
Well, I think they already knew that.
I think they were suggesting that, and I think they were promoting it as a marketing ploy, but I don't know if they actually knew it. But now that they're illegal.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be hot and humid with the chance of severe thunderstorms this afternoon and a high of 95. Tomorrow, things start to cool off. Chances of thunderstorms as well in the morning with a high of 79. It is 73 right now in downtown.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:52 and in excess on Rock 102.
Inks.
No, it's in excess.
Oh, back in the 80s, when they were popular, they were known as inks in some places.
By people who didn't know how to pronounce it. It's in excess.
Might be true. The heat wave will be ending later today, but it may be messy. A lot of thunderstorms, even messier than last night for some people, but also not before it hits 95 for a high. It's 73 already in downtown Springfield.
G. Michael Dobbs from The Reminder will be joining us after 8 o'clock today. There's all kinds of stuff we'll be talking to him about, I'm sure.
Chicopee High School is doing something I think is very cool, and I'm surprised that there aren't more schools doing this. Chicopee High, according to Mass Live, to add the first EMT course to high school students in the region. The school department has gotten into a 2-year agreement with National Ambulance, which has offices in Chicopee. And they have been working in Chicopee to expand career pathways. They've got all kinds of stuff over at Comp-High for career technical education.
I love a good Comp-High.
And vocational courses as well. But now the EMT, which is the first course of its kind in an area high school, will be treated similarly to dual enrollment programs offered through local colleges. National Ambulance runs a training facility on Main Street, and they will have some of their trainers teach the 3-credit semester-long class. This is a great idea. I've always thought things like the Heimlich maneuver or CPR or things like that should be part of the curriculum.
Yeah, and they're kind of taught in certain health classes, but this is different. This is more like a career path type of thing, which a lot of dual enrollment programs are really all about anyway.
And it's for seniors only because to take the national certification test, you have to be 18. So the classes will be open to those who will most likely be 18 by the time they finish the class. And it's also they're also paying for it. I'm not sure who's going to be paying for it because usually it's $1,350 to take an EMT class. The school department is hoping to receive a grant to cover some of the costs. It really is a great idea.
Yeah,
the first one starts in January.
It is. I mean, as well as anybody else, knowing CPR and how to do it correctly, and then to, periodically, retake the classes because sometimes things change, like the recommendations for certain CPR protocols changes from year to year. So, but I think it's a real good idea.
I'm surprised it's not done more often, and I'm surprised also that they would pick a city that's got 2 high schools. You'd think that, although granted, there are courses over at Comp that they don't have at Chicopee High because it's a newer school. They were able to build things that Chicopee High doesn't have. But yeah, this can all lead to careers. Speaking of careers, all the jobs that are out there right now.
Yeah,
I understand even the low-paying jobs out there are still going to want to look at your resume or your background. But I'm thinking this yesterday when I'm still seeing all these homeless people at these intersections waiting for money, asking for money. with all the jobs that are out there right now, can they not get one of the? I mean, again, I realize it might not look good on your resume to say for the last 4 months you've been living at the end of exit 43,
right?
Or spending 9 hours a day with a bucket in your hand, hoping someone would put money in it. But still, there are jobs out there,
and I'm sure there are a lot of homeless people that would like to get those jobs and apply for them. But there's also a lot of reasons why people are homeless. It's not just because I'm out of work. It's just, there's lots of different situations that create it.
It's just when you see some of them standing out there, some of them look very able-bodied and probably would be able to, work some kind of a job. And since all we keep hearing about are places that can't open because they don't have enough people to work, I don't know.
It's 6:56.
Ace Rewards Card.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? As many of you know, getting old ain't exactly a walk in the park. Sometimes your body, your stamina, your psychological perspective bulldozes its way into the crapper. Next thing you know, you're in traction, sitting there with a bag of frozen peas and your aching joints, wondering, where did all that youthful exuberance disappear to? Well, I hate to break it to you, getting old is completely unavoidable and fully expected. At some point, your body starts screaming at you to knock it off, take it easy, and start acting your age. Case in point, 39-year-old Serena Williams forced to withdraw from Wimbledon yesterday after injuring her leg in the first-round match against some woman whose name I absolutely cannot pronounce. A woman she could have easily beaten with her eyes closed on any other day of the week had it not been for her slipping on the grass and wrecking her knee. As a result, she was unable to continue the match and forced to withdraw from the tournament. That means that she'll have to wait until next year when she's 40 to compete for her 8th Wimbledon championship. This is only the second time in her career where she had to withdraw from a Grand Slam event due to injury, and that was 23 years ago at Wimbledon when she was only 17 years old. The difference now is she's 39, and as you know, tennis injuries are worse when you're almost 40 than when you're a teenager. Look, I'm not telling Serena Williams what to do here because I'm fairly sure she doesn't really care about my opinion. But professional tennis is really not designed for old people. That's why there are so few old people playing at the Grand Slam level. And why is that? Because it's a great way for the elderly to get hurt. That's why I stopped training for those events years ago. I just didn't think it was fair to all those youngsters to try to prove a point. And with a 23 majors championships under her belt and a net worth of $210 million, Serena Williams really has nothing left to prove to anybody except herself. And as anyone over the age of 39 will tell you, that's where people make their biggest mistakes. By believing in themselves, that's just not realistic. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Traeger Wood Fire Grill is a wood pellet grill. Premium cooking-grade hardware pellets that give your meat a smoky flavor, whether it's hickory or cherry or apple or mesquite. Pellet grilling gives you total temperature control, too. You can even bake on it. Get a Traeger Wood Fire Grill today at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7-Eleven in Skinner on Rock 102.
Maybe a half a day of scorching heat left before this ends. They're talking about thunderstorms rolling in here probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But before that, we're going to hit 95 degrees with humidity. And then tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms on a high of only 78. In fact, it's 77 already in downtown Springfield.
Michael Dobson, the reminder, will be joining us next hour. There's loads of stuff to talk to Dobbs about this week.
I wasn't going to mention this on the air because it, quite frankly, may be one of the stupidest things I've ever done. But then I realized that money is far more important to me than pride. So, and you know, I've been more than willing to share embarrassing moments on the air before. Wait.
The stupidest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Really?
I think so.
Because you got to, I mean, if I go back in time, and I've known you for, a couple of years, there's a lot on that list.
I know it, but I believe this just might be the topper. So last week, I purchased 2 tickets to see the Eagles at the center there in Boston.
The
Fleet Center?
You mean the TD Garden?
TD Garden. There you go.
Yeah.
I bought them online. Show is, I believe, August 27th. I bought them online. I bought them through Ticketmaster. And they weren't cheap. These were probably the most expensive tickets I've ever purchased before.
Well, how much you pay?
I believe they were like $175 a piece. So that's $350 total right there. So because of that high dollar amount, when I saw the little tab to insure my purchase, which I've never done before, I thought, $350, you know? I'd hate to lose that for whatever reason.
Right.
So I bought the insurance.
And how much is the insurance?
Insurance, I think it was like $23. So circumstances arose, and I discovered I'm not going to be able to go to the show.
Got emergency surgery that day.
Yes, exactly. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm going to see what I can do to get a refund on these tickets. But before I do that,
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can get a refund on the insurance, because I guess I don't need that. So I call the insurance company and I cancel the insurance policy, and I get an email shortly thereafter letting me know that I have been credited that amount and that the policy is canceled.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, you can't go to the show, then canceled the insurance without taking advantage of the insurance benefits.
For some reason, and I admit the stupidity of this, I didn't... for some reason, I thought I was insuring a cancellation of the concert other than my own.
Okay.
So, which is stupid, because if the Eagles had to cancel it, of course you would get a refund.
Of course.
If the TD Center had to cancel it, of course you'd get a refund.
That's right.
I don't know why it didn't occur to me that my own need to cancel going
Right.
was exactly why I bought insurance.
Riddle me this. Did at any point during the purchase of this insurance policy, did you read what you were buying?
I read that I was buying insurance.
Thinking what?
That if the show got canceled, I would get my money back.
Did you think at all about any recourse of your own cancellation?
No.
So, in other words, you bought an insurance policy without understanding what you were buying.
Exactly. But you know what? I have probably 5 of those. My homeowners, my life insurance. I don't understand what any of those things are.
Unless you have to make a claim, or would you cancel those policies too?
Probably from my deathbed, I would cancel my life insurance policy, and as the house was already on fire, I would cancel the homeowners.
I was going to say, great timing.
Yeah. So when I realized my stupidity, then I go to the Ticketmaster website and I start reading about the refund policy, of which there basically is none.
Right.
Unless, of course, the Eagles canceled the show or the TD Garden canceled the show. So let's see. How do I tell this? So the first thing I did is I called the insurance company back, and I said, listen, this may be the stupidest thing you've heard in a month, possibly even longer than that. And I explained the whole story. And I go, now look, I've had this insurance policy for the last 5 days. I canceled it like 5 minutes ago. Can I get this back for the same premium? Even double the premium? No, I'm sorry, sir, you can't do that. I'm like, can I buy a new policy? No, I'm sorry, you have to do that at the time of the purchase of tickets. So then I go back to the Ticketmaster website.
Right.
Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to sell these tickets. I go back to the Ticketmaster website, not even aware that they, in fact, have a button on their website for you to sell your tickets. The problem is that the $175 to $350 pair of tickets I can only get $266 for.
Which is
through
below,
Ticketmaster.
which is below the value.
Way below value. I'm not looking to make money, but I'm looking to break even. Now, I'm not even sure how I can, because I did whatever was necessary on the computer to make this situation happen where now my tickets, which are e-tickets, which are, I don't even have physical tickets. I didn't print anything. It's in an email.
Right.
But now I've given Ticketmaster the permission to sell them. I don't know how to, if they sell them today for $266 and I could have sold them tomorrow for $350, now I don't know how to back out of the deal.
My God, you are.
I know.
I first of all, when you buy the insurance, I mean, of course you would get a refund.
I know.
If they canceled the show. What would be the point of even buying it?
I know.
It's for your cancellation.
Yes, I didn't
not for
know
theirs.
it then.
How did you not
I
think
don't
of that?
know. I don't know. I'm not supposed to be anywhere without adult supervision. And I shouldn't have been allowed to do this in any way.
Why didn't you just print up the tickets and then try to sell them on eBay, where you may or may not have had like a bidding war, and that way you could have actually profited?
Well, that's
off
what
of
I'm
that.
trying to figure out if I can still do. I mean, it's
if
2
you give-
months until the show.
but if
I'm
you've
trying to
given-
find out how to. I've given them permission, but I there must be a way I can back out.
No. You've given them permission. They've probably already sold them.
No, they said they would. I'd get an email as soon as they were sold, and I haven't gotten an email.
Well, that doesn't mean
So-
anything. It means they haven't gotten around to the email.
Well,
you're
but
not.
but there's got to be a way for me to back out.
There's not. You've given
don't
them.
know that.
You don't know that they don't. I'm saying,
Of course
if you've
I
given,
don't, which is why I'm asking.
If you've given them permission, it is now completely out of your hands.
You don't know that. You don't know that. It may still be. I might still have an opportunity to back out of this thing.
I bet you don't.
Well, you want to bet? What do you want to bet? I'll bet you $175 a ticket.
I am not betting you money on this.
$23.
I'm not.
I'll bet you the cost of the insurance.
No, because again, if you're going through a process in which they are in charge of, like selling the tickets that you can no longer use, I don't see how they're just going to not sell them.
Well,
it would only take a matter of seconds
What
to
if
sell
I said?
Eagles tickets.
What if I said no? Because I would have thought that, but it's been days and they haven't been sold yet. And I believe the show is sold out, which is kind of why I'm surprised I haven't gotten an email from them yet saying that they sold them. But I'm trying. There's got to be somebody out there who knows whether or not I can back out of this thing and keep the tickets myself and then print them. But you know what? I don't know how to do that on eBay.
But you know what?
I don't know how to sell things on I've never sold something on eBay.
All of the steps that you're talking about here, there is language within those websites that explains exactly what you are buying, exactly what you are asking everybody to do, whether it's between the insurance company or Ticketmaster selling back those tickets back to Ticketmaster. The fact that you haven't received an email doesn't really surprise me or mean that much. It's not like an automatic exchange. It may have even gone through your junk file for all you know. So I don't know why you would think that there's a way for you to get back what you already given them permission to do.
For all you know, none of this could be true.
Well, I would be willing to not argue with you if I didn't think I was dealing with a total dope who got himself in this position to begin with.
Oh, boy. Come on, please. Please. The text I'm getting from the person I expected some support from.
And what are they saying?
Except the fact that you effed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice, really. Not just with the insurance, but also with Ticketmaster.
Possibly 3. There might be 3 F-ups. But I would like to know, if anyone knows, if I can back out. And if so, Would anyone like to buy these tickets?
Yeah. Look at the phones blowing up.
Maybe I can sell them at the Big Bunk and Smoke tonight.
Yes, Steve?
Or you could just reflect on all the gas money that you didn't spend last year because you were broadcasting from the comfort of your own home and say, you know what? I'm just going to eat the cost of these tickets.
I don't, but I might ultimately have to do that. But until I know I have no more recourse, then I'm going to fight this.
Here's a ticket buying expert right now. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, this is John, and I just wanted to give some advice to you know who.
Yes, you're on the air right now.
You're on the air.
All right. Well, unbelievably, I know somebody else that has been through this before.
Okay.
And they tried to do the same thing that you're trying to do. They released them to Ticketmaster to sell and then tried to sell them themselves.
Yep.
And they wound up double selling the same tickets and wound up getting charged for attempted fraud.
Well, because they tried to sell them after they'd already told Ticketmaster, I want to sell them to you?
Correct.
But they didn't.
Ticketmaster sold them, and the person sold them
right
the same day.
But the person that you're talking about didn't check with Ticketmaster first and say, hey, can I back out of this and have my tickets back?
No, he printed them out. And once he printed them out,
see, I know you can't do that. I wouldn't do that. I would want to contact.
I don't know about that. You might think you would have known you couldn't do some of the other stuff. Too.
Right? Yes, I am aware, sir. I am aware.
Thank you very
much. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't print them and try to sell them. I want to speak with someone, and I don't even want to do this internet stuff. I want to talk to a human being.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Why don't you get the crank telephone out and see?
That's right. Hang on.
Be crank caller number 10.
All right, we got another call.
Rock 102. Good morning. They just hung up. Someone just messaged and said, whenever you buy tickets from Ticketmaster, there is a disclaimer that said that all sales are final. This is new. It started this year because of the money they lost because of the pandemic.
There you go. It's new. It's not a, this is the way it's always been. How did you not know that kind of thing?
Well,
it's a new deal.
I think if you called Ticketmaster, they would probably tell you, how did you not know that?
Well, and I would be happy for them to tell me that, but I can't even find a phone number. And, all the contact us stuff is online, and there's no phones, there's no people.
I think you've screwed yourself on this one. It's 7:25 on Rock 102. 7:33 with Bax and O'Brien at Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. This month receive 60% off installation with no money down, no payments, and no interest for a full year. Visit yankeehomeimprovement.com and always use the keyword Bax. There's local radio icon Steve Nagel.
Thanks, Bax. Would you like to hear a little piece that was done by Western Mass News yesterday?
Yes.
All right.
New at 4:30, two morning radio staples in Western Mass are part of the 2021 class of the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Mike Baxendale and John O'Brien, co-hosts of The Bax and O'Brien Show on WAQI Rock 102, are two of this year's 9 inductees. The duo recently celebrated 25 years on the air together. They're also known for their annual Mayflower Marathon, seen here, which food and funds each November for the food pantry. They'll be inducted into the hall on September 30th.
Foods and funds for the food pantry?
Yes, that's right.
They're obviously only using the information from the press release from the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, which is wrong.
Yeah, right. That's why she said the 25 years. I'm surprised you didn't say the 57-hour marathon.
Well, listen, first of all,
Foods for Fun.
I am not going to sit here and be critical of Jordan Chagalinzer by any means imaginable.
No, I won't.
But, well, you can, but I won't. But, listen, they talk to nobody here. But to their credit, they were the only local news organization that reported on it. No Mass Live, no 22 News, nobody.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, 22 News did a story a couple of years ago when Bill Pepin went in, and I'm sure Channel 40 did something when Dave Madsen went in.
Sure.
But I don't know that other media organizations are really all that they care.
They clearly don't care. I'm just saying that it's,
But I don't know that we should expect it.
But I think we should expect it because, frankly, it happens so infrequently when someone from Western Mass gets acknowledged for anything. Never mind the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. That it's news. Certainly more newsworthy than half the stories they covered yesterday.
What are you talking about? What about the National Association of Broadcasters giving the awards to 22 News for their coverage?
And that's a national association.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, we get an email from the scam guy, Steve Weissman, congratulating us on getting into the New England Museum or Hall of Fame of Broadcasting. I'm like, hold on there, buddy. It's the Massachusetts one.
Yeah, it's not an entire region. It's
there's people in Bar Harbor, I'm sure, doing much better than we are.
I don't know about that.
Penobscot Island.
Nevertheless, I appreciate the Western Mass News at least acknowledged it.
Yeah.
That was cool. Thank you very much.
I just and no offense against Jordan Jagelinzer, but the way she reads it, it's almost as if like she's never heard of us before.
Well,
it's possible she may not have.
She might not. She's young.
She's been there for like at least 4 years.
Well,
Yeah, but we haven't really done anything all that outstanding in 4 years.
New Hampshire's highest court is deciding whether to allow a bail hearing for a West Springfield man charged in connection with the death of 7 motorcyclists 2 years ago. Vladimir Zhukovsky has been in jail since the crash happened in Randolph on June 21st of 2019. His lawyers argued that he deserves a bail hearing after 3 refusals. The state said Zhukovsky is in danger, and the judge was not required to hold the bail hearing. No word when a ruling will come down. Zhukovsky's trial is scheduled to begin in November.
actually, that's not entirely true. He was, I believe, taken into custody like a week after the accident because I was told he went to the beach the weekend after the crash. But speaking of New Hampshire, did you see that the Supreme Court has ruled against New Hampshire in the lawsuit that they had against Massachusetts?
Did they rule against it, or they refused to hear the case?
Oh, yeah. I think
they refused to hear the case.
I'm Googling it now, so it might have been that they just refused it.
What was the lawsuit?
The lawsuit was about Massachusetts residents or
New Hampshire taxing mass residents for working remotely.
Right.
Oh, I see.
And because New Hampshire doesn't have a state income tax, it makes it a little bit a little ambiguous as far as whether you should be paying taxes depending on where you live. But most states in New England, at least, have a reciprocity agreement, so there's no issue.
I don't understand how that works because I've never had to do that. I never worked routinely in one state and lived in another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I forget. I mean, I used to work in Massachusetts when I lived in Connecticut, but I don't remember how it worked.
I think you basically have to pay both state taxes, and then at the end of the year, you file for some sort of abatement or whatever. But I don't.
The New Hampshire governor's administration sued Massachusetts, saying that it would hold workers who had started telecommuting during the pandemic to the state's 5% income tax. Charlie Baker said that he would hold the workers to the 5% income tax if they went to New Hampshire. Workers who had been remotely working prior to the pandemic would not have to pay the tax. There is no state income tax in New Hampshire. I don't think I knew that. So if you were working prior to the pandemic, if you were living in New Hampshire, working in Massachusetts before the pandemic, you didn't have to pay the 5% income tax?
I don't know.
That doesn't seem right.
Well, but they get you in other ways, though.
It doesn't matter whether they do or not. I didn't realize this was only a pandemic-related. I mean, I know it became an issue during the pandemic.
The telecommuting part of it, the state income tax, they haven't had state income tax there in years.
No, I know that. I'm saying I didn't know that Massachusetts could tax you if you were living